Hey everyone, this is Jay, also known as jaynemesis from eToro, here to give you a weekly update video for week 10 of 2018. I know it's been a long time, really sorry. We'll get into it as we go through the video. Top news for this week, and of course our headline statistics. My PC is back at long last. I know it's been a really long time. You know, massive apologies. I'll talk about what's happened with that throughout the video. Crypto Investor Show in London. I went to go and visit that with Jesse. I'll give you some of my brief thoughts, but we're also working on an article so you can read up about it a bit as well. And of course the big news of the week was the Mt. Gox sell-off. This was huge news and really caused a lot of upset in the markets and potentially even started this entire bear market that we've been witnessing since January. Weekly statistics wise, so we're down minus 0.25% this week. Not great, but I'll explain how the trades kind of put us into that situation later on. And we closed a total of 32 trades this week. So let's go through the crypto news for the week. Binance hack. So this was some pretty big news. Binance is one of the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchanges now, responsible for a lot of daily volume and a bunch of different cryptocurrencies. They offer a lot of different pairs with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, and with their own Binance token. But this week we saw an attempted hack on Binance, and I say the word attempted because it was debatably not very successful, and I'll explain why. So basically the hackers moved funds around in people's accounts and basically bought a lot of Viacoin through various different accounts, and it's suspected they possibly used API keys to achieve this. And so they could have made money out of this on Binance pretty easily, and taking the money off the exchange. But luckily Binance had their systems kick in. Everything was locked down. All of the transactions have been reversed. Everyone got their money back, so everyone's pretty happy about it overall. And not only that, but Binance decided to put out a bounty to for any information that leads to the arrest of the guys involved in this hack, which is pretty big. Not only that, but they actually put $10 million aside of their BNB tokens specifically for this in the future as well, so that if ever it happens again, they've got funds ready to offer out as bounties for any information leading to the hackers. So this is overall pretty good news, actually. If anything, it's quite bullish. There was a lot of fear and FOMO and FUD and everything else going around at the time, and people were very concerned, obviously, because Binance is a very, very big exchange. But I look at this and I think that it really displays how much exchanges have matured recently. I would like to think that other exchanges would also handle this as well as Binance, but we don't know. But this was I think this is pretty good news, actually. Not really bad news, I would say. So the other big news is the Mt. Gox sell-off. So Mt. Gox, if you don't know, was the biggest exchange in all of cryptocurrency back in 2013. It had about 95% of all trade volume. Pretty crazy. And they got hacked through various different methods over a long period of time, and they lost a lot of funds. But they didn't lose all of their funds, and the funds that they didn't lose were actually handed over to a trustee after the arrest of Mark Karpels and everything else that went on in that situation. And the idea was that eventually they would sell these bitcoins to refund the users who had funds in the exchange. And so for a very long time, these bitcoins just kind of sat around on the internet not doing much. But this year they started moving, and in fact they started to get sold. And nobody really noticed this until this past week. So it turns out that the Japanese gentleman in charge of this has been selling his Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Cash, which forked off of Bitcoin, obviously, for the past 2 to 3 months. And we're talking about a lot of Bitcoins. So in total, about 34,000 Bitcoins have been sold this way. So this has put massive downwards pressure on the market, and we've seen the market fall off dramatically every time there has been one of these sells. So if you go on Reddit, if you look around on the internet, you can find some of these maps that basically show you pinpoint when he put in these different sell orders. And if you look at the markets, you can see pretty clearly how much it has affected the price. So this is kind of good news and bad news. It's good news because for all of those coins that were sold, there was a buyer. And those buyers presumably bought at that price because they think, you know, it's going to go up in the long term. The bad news is, of course, that he's still got a lot more to sell. So in total, there's about 100,000 or so bitcoins that they were in possession of. As I said, they've sold 35,000, so that leaves us with 65,000 or so bitcoins yet to be sold. Supposedly, these may not be sold until September, but you know, we'll keep an eye on it. There is actually a website that keeps track of it, so if you're really interested, do some digging. You can find out for yourself what's going on with those coins. The final thing, just a really quick one. Bitcoin has surpassed 1,000 Lightning Network nodes now on the mainnet for Bitcoin. This is obviously great news. We've seen SegWit adoption going up and up and up. Transaction fees have been absolutely plummeting over the past few months, and Bitcoin is now, you know, a viable currency to start using for day-to-day transactions. With Lightning Network progressing the way it is, I don't think it's too long until we should start seeing some real-world implementations of this. So maybe in a few months' time, you may see some of the smaller exchanges or websites that use Bitcoin, or possibly even wallets utilizing the Lightning Network, which would be very cool. On to the stock news. So there's three pretty quick articles here. There hasn't been that much going on. The top one, honestly, is more of an opinion than a fact. There have been a few different news articles talking about this. So AMD potential insider trading. So if you look around on Reddit, on r/investing and a few other places, if you look around on the AMD forums and AMD's Reddit itself, and also if you look around on even eToro, Seeking Alpha, all these kind of news websites, there's been quite a lot of discussion recently about the potential that AMD has been manipulated as a market for the past few months, like maybe the past 6 months or so. Now, I did write a short post on this on my eToro, so if you haven't seen it, go and give it a quick read. And there is a really good post on Seeking Alpha that goes into it a bit more as well. I don't know how true it is, but to me it does feel quite odd that while we've seen these big bullish movements for pretty much every other tech stock that there is for the past, you know, 6 to 9 months, AMD has pretty much remained flat during this period, despite beating earnings multiple times. So it could be that there are some big whales at play that are just enjoying trading this in its little range that's been in between $10 and $12. I don't know for sure. We've actually taken quite a lot of advantage of this and been doing some good trades ourselves. But I thought it was something that was maybe worth mentioning. So the second piece of news is Tesla scheduled production break in the Model 3. So there are some pretty clickbaity headlines out there right now, which will tell you that Tesla has stopped producing the Model 3, but this was planned all along for them to basically try and streamline their building and manufacturing of this car. As you all know, Tesla have had a lot of problems with this car and ramping up, so hopefully this is going to be pretty bullish news. So far, since the markets have opened today, Tesla is actually up by a substantial amount, so maybe this is a good sign. Final piece of news, Snapchat. Everyone, I think, knows that I'm not the biggest fan of Snapchat. I think it's something that's pretty easy to copy, and if you look at how Facebook and Instagram, specifically under Facebook, have implemented some of the very similar features, I think Snapchat has got a pretty bleak looking future. The update obviously didn't go down very well. That's been I was actually on national news in the UK about how bad the update was for Snapchat and how many people were angry about it. But as a result of their falling share price and their struggles financially, Snapchat actually laid off about 120 different developers out of their 1,000 or so. So over 10% of their development team. It's a pretty big layoff. Obviously, it's not great news for the people that work there. But for us, it's been kind of okay because I've been shorting it. I just don't think it's got that much of a future. It's a bit of a problem, similar problem to what GoPro has, in that their product is very easily copied and it's not really that unique. So let's move on to our realized trading statistics. This week we have 32 trades in total. 28 of them were profitable, 4 of them unfortunately were not. So those are closed trades. The average trade size was 1.03%, which is basically where I want it to be. It means that every trade should be pretty easily copied, even if you copy me with the bare minimum that eToro allows you as a copier. The average profit, 3.09%, and the average loss, 24%, which is a pretty big number, I know, but allow me to explain why that is once I've gone through the last 2 points. Most traded instrument was AMD, so as I said earlier, we've been benefiting quite a lot from the range that it's been trading in, and I've been actively trying to trade that stock. And our total realized profit for the end of this month is minus 0.25%. Not great, not terrible. So why the minus 24.03%? The answer is pretty simple. Some of the crypto long positions that I've had open, I closed because I felt the market was going to drop further. It did, and I bought back in cheaper. That's literally what happened for those positions. So I think actually all 4 of those positions, feel free to go through my history on eToro itself and check for yourself. I'm pretty sure that all 4 of those positions were cryptocurrencies. I think it was Neo, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin possibly. It might have been Dash. But I closed those positions, reopened them a bit lower, so we effectively made profit, but not in this week. So that profit will kind of come through in a few weeks' time when I close those trades. So overall, not too bad considering the market conditions we've had, but definitely hoping to have a better week next week. Performance-wise, as you can see, this is my worst opening to a year to date, just about. Although we've obviously got a pretty long way to go in March still. January we lost 1.2%. February that actually increased even further and we lost a further 4.5%. And so far in March we're down about 2.5%. So this is still pretty easily recoverable. And if you look at my statistics from last year, hopefully you guys aren't too worried about it. I'm not too worried about it. I think there has been a lot of good news coming out for Bitcoin, and actually that Mt. Gox news that I mentioned earlier has really explained a lot of why the crypto market has been dropping the way it has. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of March unfolds, but I'm reasonably confident that we won't end it in the red. So what am I looking forward to? More cryptocurrencies on eToro. So this was kind of like a non-announcement, but I think it was I'm trying to remember who it was now, but I think it was Yoni Ashia said that there are several more cryptocurrencies coming to eToro over the next few months. So I don't know what they are. I would assume that like the other cryptocurrencies, they're going to be somewhere in like the top 20 range or so on eToro. I'd be surprised if we don't start seeing some ERC20 tokens moving on there, maybe some of the bigger Ethereum projects. But honestly, I have no idea. This is pure speculation. I am looking forward to seeing what they are, though. Obviously, XLM was pretty fun to trade. And I've done a few trades on Neo as well so far. Streaming. So, as you can tell by this video, I now have my setup back, and I am able to work on everything that we need to. My PC was away for repairs for a really long time. There were problems with the pump. It's an incredibly small PC case to build inside of. So it really, it was always going to take maybe a couple of weeks or so. There have been all sorts of tiny little problems that have just slowed down the process. I mean, even to the point that actually there was snow outside and I couldn't go to pick it up when it was ready. As crazy as that sounds. But it's back now. I have my webcam in front of me. My monitor's all working. And Jesse, who is mentioned below, as you can see, has been working hard to try and improve the quality of my videos. He's going to be editing this, which is great because you have no idea how many takes I've done. This has taken about an hour. I'm so out of practice. But yeah, should be streaming again soon. Tuesdays and Fridays, and of course more video content to come as well. So on to Jesse. Who is Jesse? Jesse is sitting in the corner of the room right now writing an article for me about what we went to go and experience in London at the crypto event. And yeah, he's been my housemate for several years now, probably my best friend, and he doesn't really get trading and he doesn't even really like cryptocurrencies, but what he does get is content and quality. So Jesse is basically here to make everything in my life easier. He's going to improve the quality of the streams, the quality of the Discord, the quality of the posts I put on eToro. He's going to copyright them for me. Everything in between, like spreadsheets. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts putting things in my calendar. Basically, Jesse is here to just do whatever he can to help make what I give you guys better. So hopefully you should start seeing the results of that pretty soon. This video is probably the first real thing that you will see. There's also an FAQ up now as well on my website, so do check that out. That's about it for this week, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's an article coming out about the Crypto Investor Show in London soon, where I'll talk about a couple of cryptocurrency projects that I liked, and you know, just our experience of the show. Nothing too long, nothing too crazy, but just a little bit of insight. Thanks to everyone who came to see me while I was there. Huge apologies to everyone that I didn't manage to find. Really sorry. It was very crowded, as you probably know if you went. In fact, there were even people turned away from the event, I believe. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next week.